Imagine finding a secret room in your house, a room not listed in any blueprint. A place untouched by time, shrouded in mystery and dust. A sudden chill runs down your spine as you stand on the threshold of the unknown. This is exactly the situation our protagonist finds himself in. A man of ordinary circumstances who stumbles upon the extraordinary. In the heart of his humble abode, he uncovers a hidden room, a place seemingly forgotten by time. A room that seems to beckon him, yearning to reveal its secrets. As he steps into the room, a cloud of dust billows up, shrouding the room in a ghostly veil. The air smells of age and of stories untold, as if the room itself is a silent witness to a bygone era. The room is filled with old, dusty furniture, each piece a relic of a past life, each imbued with tales of its own. A creaky wooden chair, a rusted iron bed frame, a moth-eaten rug, and an ornate wooden desk bearing the weight of a leather-bound diary. The diary, a tangible link to the past, its pages yellowed with age and inscribed with graceful handwriting. It's dated back to the 1800s and bears the name Abigail. Who was Abigail? A fleeting ghost of the past? A mere name etched on a diary? Or something more? Our protagonist is drawn towards the diary, an irresistible force pulling him in. As he flips open the pages, the scent of old ink and parchment fills the room, a sensory time machine transporting him back into the past. The diary holds the promise of a tale untold, a narrative etched in time, a story that has waited for centuries to be unearthed. And now, in the hands of our protagonist, it has found its audience. As curiosity piques, he decides to read the diary, unknowingly opening the door to a chilling past. Abigail's words reveal a life full of misery and fear, haunted by something she refers to as the shadow. The diary, bound in worn leather, is filled with the frantic scrawls of a woman living on the edge of sanity. As our protagonist reads aloud, we are transported back to a time of gaslit rooms and whispered secrets. The first entry introduces us to the shadow. Abigail describes it as a chilling presence that only emerges under the cloak of night. It whispers dreadful threats, promises of doom that would make even the bravest souls shudder. Abigail writes, "It tells me of things that are to come, of pain and despair that await me. I dare not sleep, for it is then that the shadow is at its strongest." The diary entries become increasingly frantic as the nights wear on. The shadow is relentless. Abigail writes, "It whispers of my end, of a fate worse than death. I can feel its cold touch even as I pen these words. Oh, how I wish for the light of day." There are attempts at rationality where Abigail tries to convince herself that the shadow is just a product of her imagination. But these moments of lucidity are short-lived, quickly overtaken by her terror. "I see it in my dreams, I hear it in the quiet, it is here, always here. The shadow surrounds me, consumes me." As our protagonist turns the pages, the fear that once consumed Abigail begins to seep into the present. The diary becomes a portal, a window into a past filled with unbearable dread. But then, just as we are drawn into Abigail's world, the diary abruptly ends. The final pages are missing, torn out in a seemingly desperate act. We are left with an unsettling silence, a sense of unease that lingers long after the last word has been read. With each page, the terror of Abigail's past seeps into the present, but the diary abruptly ends, leaving a sense of unease. Ever since reading the diary, the protagonist starts experiencing strange occurrences. The words of Abigail, once confined to the brittle pages of an old diary, now seem to echo in the silence of his home. As dusk turns into night, our protagonist finds himself plunged into an eerie symphony of whispers. They weave through the quiet, a soft murmur at first, but they grow, becoming more insistent, more familiar. They are the whispers that Abigail wrote about, the whispers that once haunted her. As the whispers grow, so does the sense of unease. It's as though the very air in the house has changed. It's heavier, filled with an unseen dread. The protagonist feels it, the weight of unseen eyes watching him. He turns sharply, catching a glimpse of something in the corner of his vision, a shadowy figure that disappears as quickly as it appeared. It's elusive, but it's there, lurking in the corners of his home, a silent observer. Objects begin to move on their own, defying logic and gravity. A book falls off a shelf, a chair slides across the floor, a door slams shut with a chilling finality. Each event brings with it a cold wave of fear, a silent reminder of Abigail's words, her warning. The protagonist is living it now, the strange occurrences that Abigail once endured. His home, once a sanctuary, is now a stage for these spectral performances. Every creak, every flicker of light, every whisper sends a shiver down his spine. It's a chilling reminder that he's not alone. He's sharing his home with something unseen, something that's drawing strength from his fear. A realization dawns upon him, a chilling truth that he can no longer deny. His once safe haven has transformed into a house of horrors. The whispers, the shadowy figure, the moving objects, all of it is real. It's not a product of his overactive imagination. It's a haunting, a spectral presence tied to Abigail's diary. With a heavy heart and a sense of dread, he makes a decision. He can't face this alone. He needs help. The once safe haven now turns into a house of horrors. He decides to seek help. In a twist of fate, the protagonist discovers that Abigail was not just a previous occupant, but his ancestor. Yes, you heard it right, folks. Our protagonist is not merely a hapless victim who stumbled upon a haunted house. Instead, he is a link in an ancestral chain, tethered to a past that refuses to rest. As he pores over more of Abigail's diary entries, he uncovers a chilling revelation. Abigail was not a random name in the annals of history. She was his great-great-grandmother. The very same blood that coursed through her veins now pulses in his. The house, the diary, the haunting, it was all an eerie inheritance passed down through the generations. Imagine, if you will, the sheer terror that grips our protagonist. This isn't just a ghost story anymore, it's a family saga. He is not dealing with an unknown specter, but a restless ancestor. The stakes are higher, the fear more palpable, the haunting is personal, and the ghost is family. This discovery does more than just rattle our protagonist, it changes the entire narrative. The shadow that lurks in the corners of the house isn't just a random entity, it's a part of a story that's intertwined with the protagonist's very existence. A story that's been waiting to be told, a mystery waiting to be unraveled, a lineage waiting to be acknowledged. And as he delves deeper into Abigail's past, he begins to understand why the shadow is so relentless. It's not merely haunting a house, it's haunting a lineage. It's a grim reminder of a past that has been forgotten, a history that has been ignored, a legacy that's been abandoned. And so, our protagonist finds himself in a predicament that's more terrifying than he could have ever imagined. He isn't just fighting for his life, he's fighting for his lineage. He's not just battling a ghost, he's battling his past. And in this chilling tale of horror, the past is as tangible and terrifying as the shadow itself. The shadow was not just haunting a house, but a lineage. And with that, we plunge deeper into the heart of this horror story, where the past and the present are inextricably linked, and every twist is more terrifying than the last. Armed with newfound courage and determination, our protagonist decides to confront the shadow. No longer content to cower in fear, he takes a stand, prepared to protect his family at all costs. The protagonist returns to the secret room, the heart of the haunting, where the air feels heavy with centuries-old secrets. It's here, in this dimly lit chamber of dread, that he must face his fears. The room, once a symbol of terror, now serves as a battleground for his courage. In the icy silence, he calls out to the shadow, his voice resolute, echoing through the room. He pleads with the entity, not out of fear but from a place of strength. He demands for it to leave his family alone, to let them live in peace. Our protagonist's words, filled with desperation and resolve, hang in the air, resonating with the weight of his conviction. But then, something unexpected happens. The shadow, the terrifying force that has plagued his family for so long, is taken aback by his courage. The protagonist's bravery, his willingness to defend his family, seems to have an effect on the shadow. It's as if the entity recognizes the strength of his resolve, the power of his love for his family. And then, in a moment that feels like an eternity, the shadow vanishes. It recedes into the shadows, its ominous presence fading away, leaving behind an eerie calm. The entity, once so formidable and terrifying, promises to never return, its dark reign over the family finally coming to an end. In the end, it wasn't fear that vanquished the shadow, it was bravery. It was the protagonist's courage, his determination to protect his family, that ended the centuries-old haunting. His story serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the only way to face our fears is to confront them head-on. And so, we leave our protagonist, standing victorious in the secret room, a testament to the power of courage over fear. In the end, it was not fear, but bravery that ended the centuries-old haunting.